Shawnee, welcome back. Why did I just check? Tell me if you remember that reference. I decided that I need to tell you all a story, and instead of waiting until Wednesday, I just have to get it out now. And what I'm going to use today, you all know, if you've watched before, that I like duping things. And oftentimes that helps me decide, will I buy something? Will I not buy something? And it's typically something I'm already a little ambivalent about. So if you go back like a video or two, you'll see me duping the Natasha Denona Yucca palette, and it helped me decide I'm not gonna get the palette. So the one I'm duping today is a new release from Dose of Colors. It's called the 10 Years She's... 10 Years She's a 10 palette, and it's to celebrate their 10 years in the business called makeup. And I really like the palette right off the bat, but I've had a couple of friends say, you already have that palette 10 times over. I was trying to prove them wrong, and I didn't. I kind of do have the palette, so I'm going to show you what I came up with. Here it is. Now, I didn't fully capture the palette, but it's close enough that I can just be fine with it, you know? So here is the palette. Essentially, you can look, I'll try to put a photo up of the palette that they have, and you can kind of compare them. I think I got pretty close. I don't think I'm on the nose like I have been before, but again, like I said, it's close enough that I don't need the palette, I think. There is a lipstick that I want. It's like, I think it's called Black Rose, and it is so pretty. But I do know that in July, usually they have the National Lipstick Day, and that is my birthday. So I'll probably order it then, because oftentimes there are lipsticks on sale during that time. Oh my gosh, I'd be remiss to not say Happy Pride Month to all my she's, he's, they's, queer folks out there. Happy Pride Month. Hopefully you consider me an ally, because I try to be, but I know that that term has to be bequeathed upon you from the group that you're trying to be an ally for. So hopefully that is something that I visibly do. I think part of being an ally is also visibly supporting marginalized groups, and you know, yeah. So I have a lot of queer LGBTQIA plus clients. I don't know how. I think that I'm known for my multicultural competence and things like that, and I'm a pretty open, non-judgmental therapist, or I try to be, and so I do get a lot of queer people of color, really. The reason that's important for me to say is because there is a lot of intersectional identity for a lot of us. That would mean that you might have 2 or more marginalized groups that you're a part of. So queer folks of color are marginalized often in our society because of their being LGBTQIA+, and then folks of color are often discriminated against in our society. So you put them together and you've got some intersectionality going on that is important to attend to, especially in therapy. So Happy Pride Month. I see you. I love you. I'm here for you. Let me know if I need to be somebody up, okay? Okay, so the palette and the story. So I'm going to go ahead and just start getting ready. I love Dose of Colors, and I'm going to try to use their foundation and concealer. I'm hoping that those shades work for me right now. And yeah, so let me grab... I'm going to go ahead in with the NYX Proof It eyeshadow base. Okay, so y'all know I started dating, right? And I jumped into the dating world after my long-term relationship ended, which I'm working in therapy to realize that there was some emotional manipulation going on there, which is kind of hard for me to say and admit to, but I'm saying that because, like, it can just happen to anyone, you know? Like, I can point it out to other people, and I didn't realize that I was experiencing some of the same things. So I really appreciate my friends that have been supportive through this, and my therapist, because y'all, my therapist is good, okay? Yeah, and I've just really been sitting with not blaming myself. So I won't go into detail because we don't need to do that right now. But if you want me to talk about it more, I guess I can. Maybe I'm not that ready to talk about it, but we'll see. Okay, so we have that. I think I'll try to mix a couple of the shimmers. So let's try this one first. Okay, so I was like, I'm gonna jump in, I'm going to, you know, do things differently this time. I'm like texting my friends all the time, like, is this a red flag? Is this not a red flag? And they tell me. So get you some friends like that that are gonna tell you when something is a red flag and you need to run. So that's been helpful. I talked about in a couple of other videos, like, terrible dates I went on, and then I started dating M, right? Just casual, you know, not exclusive, just dating. So first, M was calling me all the time, texting me all the time, FaceTiming me all the time, like daily we would talk, right? And we would see each other a couple times a week. I mean, a couple times in the week. So I'm like, cool, this seems to be going well, you know, like, the way he was treating me was, like, very different from my past relationship. And so I was like, oh, this is what a healthy relationship is, you know? So things were going great. And then I noticed that we start to, like, not spend as much time together. So it went from, like, 2-3 times a week to, like, 1 maybe. And then I started to get, you know, kind of fewer calls. So I was like, huh. So I brought it up. I was like, hey, so I just noticed that you haven't been communicating as much, you know, what's that? Are things okay? Like, what's going on? So there was a point where he was sick, and he said it was allergies, and he was sniffing all over the place. And he is the only person I know who has allergies that forgets to take his allergy medication. So I was like, that's a little strange. Because if you have such severe allergies, you would think that you would be on top of taking your medicine, right? Okay, let's go in with this shade here. So I was a little like, okay. You know, I was trying to be nice and remind him, like, take your allergy meds, you know, because you sniffing all the time and all that jazz. Remember that. So we continue hanging out, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like we're going out less, like I said. And I brought it up. I was like, dude, we should go out less. I mean, go out more. And he was like, yeah, we absolutely should, blah, blah, blah. And I think I told y'all that he was or is supposedly allergic to pet dander. And I'm like, well, I'm going to say because Rose is part of the family. She ain't going nowhere, right? So if we were going to just chill at someone's house, it would have to be at his. So I'm like, cool. So you don't have no, like, wife and kids hit up in here. That's good. You know, comfortable house. Real cool. Gave me the, you know, I could do whatever I wanted in the house. Cool. So the other day we spent time together, and then the next day we were on the phone. I can't remember who called whom, but one of us called the other. And I don't remember exactly what we were talking about. Now I'm going to go in with this one. I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but this is a pretty color. But I was like, jokingly like, oh, do you do drugs? And he started talking about the things he tried in college, which makes sense to me. I never tried anything. I'm just your quintessential, like, good girl nerd. But having worked with college students for the past like almost 15 years, I'm like, oh, okay, I understand. This is what people do in college. Like, do you, boo, just be safe and everything is what I always tell people. So something he said, like initially I thought, oh, he's talking about what he did in college, which, you know, is 10 plus, no, more than 10, 20 years ago, right? About 20 years for this grown-ass man. But something he said made me think that he was talking about now. And so I was like, oh, wait, you do that now? I'm over here joking, you know, playing around. And let me tell you, before I go on, we would have these conversations where he would insist that his point was right. And a lot of times, I'm a strong black woman. I would like back down for some people, but for him, I was like, nah, you're not gonna do this craziness in this little situation we have going on. So I would be like, no, sir, that's not correct. Especially where we like butt heads was about psychology. And hello, I'm a psychologist. Now, at first I thought it was a cultural difference where, okay, maybe you don't get it. You grew up in a totally different space and one in which mental health is not highly valued, blah, blah, blah. But he would say things like, what do people have to be depressed about? Like, they have food and a roof over their heads. I'm like, dude, depression doesn't discriminate. And just all these other things. And he would be surprised that I have clients like that people go to therapy, and also people of color go to therapy. Just like really interesting things. And so the day before this conversation happened, we were hanging out, and I can't remember what I said, but we were having this like heated disagreement about stuff. And I was like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'd just like us to stop, right? Very nice, very, you know, out for delivery, great. And the thing he does is he keeps talking. He's like, no, let me tell you my point. No. And I'm like, no, I don't want to talk anymore about this. And sorry, y'all, I got a little carried away and forgot I was actually doing my makeup. I'm gonna go into this shade here. This is actually one of the shades from my Focus palette. I noticed that I get a lot of use out of this shade. So I'm gonna start with that here. Okay, so he would just continue talking after I asked him not to. I would be like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. It's making me really upset and I would like to stop. And he'd be like, no, but let me make my point. And he would just keep on going. And I'm like, dude, why you have to have the last word every time? And he's like, no, I don't. I'm like, yes, you do. He's giving off some narcissistic tendencies, okay? I know everybody throws that word around like it's snow nowadays. Okay, so he would do that and that would irritate me. So I shut down. Like, I can shut down and I'm just not even acknowledging your presence, which is what I did. So I shut down, I pick up my phone and I'm just like scrolling on my phone. He's just talking. And he's like, right? I'm like, aren't I right? And I'm like, I'm not speaking to you right now. So finally he stops talking. And I was like, you know, I really don't appreciate when you continue talking after I've asked for us to stop this conversation. It feels very disrespectful. And he was like, well, I was talking to myself. Sir. I was like, are you serious? How are you talking to yourself when we're in the middle of a conversation? And then he was like, well, I was talking and I just kept going when you got on your phone. No, you kept going before I got on my phone. Like, it was really irritating me. It was in my spirit. I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. And you can talk to some of my friends. I've talked about, I don't like the continuation of the verbiage coming out of your mouth when I have specifically asked, can we please just like table this and not talk about this right now? Because I'd be getting pissed, right? And like, yeah, anyway. So we, like, the night goes fine. We like start joking around at some point and everything's good. There's another part that I probably can't tell you on the YouTubes. But anyway, stuff was starting to bother me, okay? But I was still enjoying our time together. We laughed, we tell jokes, we have good conversation when he's willing to listen. But then, so back to what substances he's tried. And I'm like, oh, are you talking about right now? That those are the things you do right now? You know, I'm joking. I'm like, that's crazy. And far be it from me to judge anyone. I think you should do whatever you want to do. But living in a family of addicts, I can't. It's just... it makes me super uncomfortable. That I'm still working through it in therapy. You can see I'm like tripping over my words. I'm gonna go in with this shade here. So he was like, oh yeah, that's what I do now. And I was like, are you serious? Child, when I tell you, he was naming some hard druggies. Like some hard substances. Not your regular old Mary Jane. Not that, girl. He was talking about the hard stuff. Like, yes, those. Think about it. Those. Like the can I say it on YouTube? I don't even know. Girl, not that they pay attention to me, but like Molly, crack, heroin, coke, all the hard stuff. And I'm like, sir, what? Because I did the online thing. On the online thing, it says you don't do substances like that. So then he's like, okay, I gotta go. Because I guess he was at work. And I was like, I pulled one of him, no. Like, we need to finish this conversation. And he's like, well, we'll finish it later because I have to go. I'm at work. And I'm like, okay, sir, I'm gonna go in with the black. So I was sitting with myself, just thinking, and I was like, I need to find out more information. So I texted him and I was like, I'm really uncomfortable with the conversation we just had because I was really under a different impression. And I was like, I don't know that I can be around that, and I just can't date someone who is in that like stage of their life. Like, it just makes me uncomfortable. And I was thinking like worst case scenarios, like if we're driving and we get pulled over and they're like, whose paraphernalia is this? And I'm trying to say it's his, and they don't believe me, and I get arrested, and that goes on my record. So I know I was like taking it far, but this was what I was thinking. And then I was also questioning myself because I was like, I have never seen like needle marks. He's never smelled like Mary Jane. Like, I don't know. I was like, I know I could tell certain things. Like, I can usually call people out like, are you high right now? But I didn't see it. He also didn't really drink. Like, we would go out, he'd have a beer. That's it. While I'm down in martinis, you know? So I was just like flabbergasted. And then the other thing is, he tells a lot of jokes. So I'm like, are you joking? This is a joke, right? And he's like, I don't know why you don't believe me. Like, yeah. And I'm trying to hold on and hold out faith that he's joking. But he's like, no, I do it recreationally. And I'm like, how often is recreationally? Is that once a week? Like once a month? Once a year? I don't understand. So I was like, I can't date somebody who is part of that lifestyle right now. Like, it's just, it makes me uncomfortable. I know it's my own thing because of my own family. It just makes me really uncomfortable. And so he was like, why is it a problem? Why? And I was like, why didn't you tell me? And he was like, why would I tell you? And I'm like, why wouldn't you tell me? Like, I feel like that's important to know. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But I feel like that's just important to know, especially if it's like a significant part of your lifestyle. Like, dude, we've been talking for a minute now and you ain't tell me this? Okay. let me know if I'm overreacting, y'all. So I was like, okay, can we like, I'd really like to talk about this more. I'd like to get a better understanding. Like, this is me giving people too many passes. We've talked about it in therapy. So I'm being real vulnerable with y'all. So honey, I'm texting, he's not responding back. So then I'm calling, he's not answering. So I call again, and he texts me back, and he's like, I'll call you after I leave. He was at a bar. This isn't helping your situation, sir. He was at a bar watching the game, and I'm like, cool. I don't hear from him. Then the next day, I text, and I call. Now, this is more than I've had to do ever. Like, usually, it's a mutual communication thing. He don't answer. He don't text back. So I sent a text like, okay, should I stop calling and texting you? Like, be up front, let me know. He don't answer. Girl, he don't answer at all ever again. Okay? He don't answer at all ever again. Still haven't heard from the man. So it seemed like he's for real about that life. And now I'm not about it. And the crazy thing is, we had talked about like previous relationships and stuff, and I was like, oh, you know what happened with your last one? And he was like, oh, she was always coming over drunk and high. And I'm like, but it sounded like you was doing the same thing. Like, help me understand. Help me to help you. Like, help me understand. This is the Fashion Fair skin priming serum. It's okay. I've talked about it before. I'm just trying to use it up before I go to my other primers. So I'm just confused because, y'all, we have been having a good time. You know, I was starting to see flags, but again, we've talked about it before. I see red flags as little cute decorations, but I was willing to say they were yellow flags. They were like yellow flags. They were orange, right? But now I'm looking back like, was all that sniffing really allergies? Or was it sniffing because you be sniffing other stuff? You know what I'm saying? I don't know the lingo. I don't know anything about it. But all I know is Whitney told us crack is whack, and that's where I stand, right? And I hope I'm not alienating anyone who this is a part of their life. That is totally fine. I just can't, it makes me so uncomfortable. I have so much like trauma and stuff to work through around it, and it's just not a good thing for me, right? Yeah, like, because of stuff in my family, like, I didn't even drink, I think, until I was like 25. I didn't even have a drink until then. So I'm just a little cautious about things. But I was willing to talk about it. I was willing to get a better understanding. What does recreational mean? Like, how does this present in your life? But he stopped answering, y'all. I ain't heard from the man. Not a peep. Not a chirp. Not an FU, like nothing. And y'all, this is a 46-year-old man, and he done ghosted me. Like, this is a for real ghost. I've been ghosted like this maybe 2 other times in my life. Wait, and one of them I think might be dead. Like, that's why I think he don't answer no more, or when it was happening. So yeah, I'm like moveon.com, because first of all, you lied straight to my face. Like, you lying liar face. You lied straight to my face. And I also feel like I was willing to try to get an understanding of what's going on. I should have just stopped right there. Like, this is me again giving people passes. And you just like, somebody texted me. You just like peaced out. Y'all, and my mom is the holiest of holy. She be in church all the time. She directs the choir. You know, she's a deaconess. She goes to Sunday school and regular church, and then she goes to like the 8 a.m. service, and she goes to midweek Bible study and choir rehearsal. Holy. And even she was like, that jackass and other stuff. I was like, yes, yes, mommy. I was trying to tell her, girl, like, dating isn't like how it used to be in your time. Your, like, prime when you were dating. Well, actually, I think my mom, honestly, only really dated, like, 2 people. And one is my dad. So I'm like, girl, it's not the same out here. It's rough in these streets, okay? And she was like, I know. I understand. I'm like, this is what I've been trying to tell y'all for years. So I just, like, I'm done. I deleted the person's info from my phone. Well, first I've changed his name to something I can't repeat on, you know, on the camera. And this is what I do. Everybody gets a nickname in my phone. You especially get one if you're an ass. Then I'm like, oh, you about to get a name. So when you call, it's gonna say like dumbass or something like that. Like, I'm really fine with doing that. So I changed his name, and then I was like, you know what? I don't want any contact with this person. And so I completely deleted his info off my phone, which is also what I did with my ex from my previous relationship, which was really hard because we had been together for a really long time. But like, I could tell that he was like subtweeting, or however you would phrase it if it's Instagram or like WhatsApp. And I was like, I'm just driving myself crazy looking at this mess. So delete, sir. Delete. Peace out. So that happened a little while ago, and I was just like, okay, like, I don't know that I have the energy or the mental capacity to try this dating thing again. Like, I'm just like, listen, let me live my life. Let me live my life with my cat and just go about my business. So that goes on for a little bit. And then I'm talking with my friend, oh, but tell me what you think about that story. Let me know, did I do the right thing? Am I being super judgmental? Because I don't want to be that. But I also want to honor my own feelings and my own comfort and things like that, you know? Okay, so then I'm just chatting it up with a friend. We're texting. This is a friend that we've been friends since like 2019, and we did go out for a little bit, like a month or two, and then we had this big disagreement that I didn't even know we were having, because apparently I made a joke that made him upset and I had no idea. So it wasn't until like more recently he told me, and I was like, that's what happened? Because he had said, I don't think we should date anymore. And I'm like, okay. I was like, that's what happened? And why didn't you tell me? Why don't people communicate? Just tell me so I can be aware. I like to know when I'm being a dumbass. So apparently I had offended him, and like that was the day or the day after where he was like, I don't think we should date anymore. And he was like, I don't know, why would I tell you? What is with these men and why would I tell you? Why would you not? Why would you not tell me? And I was like, I like to know if I offend someone so I can apologize for my behavior and I can like make a change, you know? I think it's important. Like I'd like to know, you know what I'm saying? Let me know if that's true for you. If you like to know if you offended somebody, or if you just want to walk around like, nope, sure didn't. But I wanted to know because I had been really confused as to why things kind of ended. And, because we had been having a lot of fun. We had been having a lot of fun, okay? We went to like IKEA and had the time of our lives. So we were just doing a lot of random things. It was really cool. I was always like super casual around him because he's pretty active. So he would all of a sudden be like, let's go for a hike and stuff like that. So I would just usually be in my natural state and like some workout clothes. I don't think I ever really like dressed up or anything. So it was just really comfortable, safe, calm, right? So when it ended, I was really thrown off. And I can always remember every like breakup, where I was, what I was doing, what I was wearing. I was at work. I was in my office. This is when I was part of another practice, and I got that message, and it was a text. What is with you, man? Give me a call. But a text is fine, whatever. And I was just like floored. Like I went home after that. I was like, okay, can't deal with the day. I just gotta go, cry it out, have some Chick-fil-A, and return tomorrow. So I think after that we weren't really talking, right? And then he texted me and was like, hey, I have a friend you might like. And I was like, dude, not you texting me to hook me up with your friend. We're not doing that. So I was like, no, sir. Thank you, but no. And he was like, oh, I thought you guys would really get along. I'm like, I don't want to date your friend. So then again, we don't talk for a little while. And I don't know how it happened, but we just got back to texting. And then he was like, hey, do you want to go get coffee? Which is something we would do. And I was like, sure, you know. And then, you guys, I saw him. And I was like, oh my God, I miss him. But I'm like, whatevs, you know, I give him a hug. We sit at this coffee shop for hours just talking and talking and talking. Like, we went from the tables to like the little chair, the couches they have in coffee shops. And we were just talking and talking. And then after that, we went to lunch. So we spent a lot of time together. And then, like, we're still in the friend zone for each of us, right? Like, he was casually dating someone. I was with, you know, an jackass. So we're just like friending it up, right? But we did that a couple of times, and he was always very polite and would be like, is it okay if I hug you? And I'm like, sure. And we even talked about my ex. He calls him the lawyer. And just all this stuff. I was talking to him about people he was dating, blah, blah, blah. And we're just really developing a friendship, you know? Like, we would text. We wouldn't text, like, all the time. But we would text. We would talk, FaceTime, just casually. There was a time where I was having a panic attack, and Jackass didn't know what to do because apparently he can't handle anyone's emotions. And I couldn't get a hold of like my sister, who is someone that really helps me to calm down when that happens. And I called him, and he was like, okay, you know, I'll help you calm down. He was willing to leave work to come. And I was like, oh, this is what a friend is. Okay. So we're developing this friendship. The other thing is we have these heated conversations. Maybe I'm the common factor, but we have these heated conversations. And sometimes I would get annoyed and be like, I don't want to talk to you. I just don't want to talk to you right now. And that happened once. And then like a little while later, he contacted me to be like, are you okay? And I was like, oh, stop being sweet. I hate you. So the other day we're texting, and he's like, hey, I think I'm going to start texting you more if that's okay. And I was like, jokingly, like, why? You want to date me or something? I didn't expect what he said next. He said, yes, I was thinking about it. Okay, sir, with the honesty. And I was like, oh, okay, let's do it. And he was like, but there are some things that I don't like. And yeah, he was like, there are some things that I don't like, which for me, who thinks I'm perfect, I'm like, what could you not like? What are you talking about? So he was like, I think we're like 94% compatible. And I was like, well, tell me why we ain't at 100, okay? So he mentioned some things. What did he say? Ooh, I should remember. Oh, so he doesn't like when I text and I'm like, I'm just checking in, or I'm checking on you, which is something I do to like all my friends. Like always, if we talk offline, you know that I'm like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? But he hates it. He feels like it's not genuine, and he feels like it's like a pity text or something. He said because, like, why don't I carry a conversation after that? And I'm like, because I'm literally just checking on you, you know? So we have just different, views about that. But I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I can stop doing that. You know, if it bothers you, that's no big deal to me. I just want to check on your ass. So that was one thing. And then there was another thing. He was like, I don't understand why you get sad, like, because you have so much. And I'm like, dude, that's called depression. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you about that one. And then I told him what I kind of was irritated about with him. I was like, sometimes you say things in a very harsh manner that I don't appreciate. So he like accepted that. And then we're also talking about other things, and this sort of like, are we gonna date thing is like woven into the conversation. So then he was like, well, how about like, are you available tomorrow? And I'm like, available, yes. And he was like, would you like to go to lunch? I'm like, sure. So he then, what happened after that? I hope you all are enjoying this story. I'm sorry if it's long. He then picked out a restaurant, and you all know I'm Caribbean, right? So he picked like a Caribbean restaurant. Shut up, I'm not smiling. He picked like a Caribbean restaurant, and he was like, this looks really good. What do you think? And I'm like, oh yeah, this looks super good. Let's go, you know? And so we decide on a time. He picks a bit of a later time. He's an early bird. He wakes up at like 3 or 4 sometimes. And I'm pulling myself out the bed at 7. So he picks a time that's like in the afternoon, which would be like much later for him than me because I like just woke up. I'm like, okay, that's thoughtful. So, you know, I check in the morning, and I'm like, hey, oh no, he said, he also said, I'd like to get to know you more again. And he said something sexy, but I can't tell you that. But he was like, that, like, the sexy part is not my priority. I just really want to get to know you again. And I was like, I want to get to know you again too. Like, you know, beyond the friend sort of zone we've put each other in. And he was like, I'm looking forward to seeing you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. You know, just So he picks a restaurant. We go. And so it was like hard to find parking. If you live anywhere in the DMV area, you know that parking is just trash. So we were struggling to find a place, struggling to find parking. We drove separately because we're coming from like 2 different directions. So then he finds parking first, and like he goes in the restaurant. He comes out, he's like, it's really crowded in there. I think we should go somewhere else. So I hop in his car, and we go to another restaurant like down the street. So we go in, and you know, he holds the door like a gentlemanly person should. And we sit and we have the greatest time. We were laughing, but then we were also telling jokes. We were also having like serious conversation. And the first thing he did was take a selfie of us. Now let me tell you why that's important. Because people I've dated in the past have sometimes said, oh, I don't like taking pictures. Like, at all. So that must mean you have a wife and kids somewhere, you know? So we take these selfies and everything. And he, so y'all know that I've gone to hang out with him, like, with my hair in a bonnet, like, you know, just like some sweat clothes on. And this day, I got a little real cute. I got my hair all slicked back with some gel and stuff. I have just a little bit of makeup on. I actually wore my Janessa Myricks Color Fix Nude. So I just had a little bit on because he's real chill. I didn't want to go up there super glamour bot. And I had on a cute dress. And, you know, I used my Penny Cake soap, and I sprayed on my Sexy Amber from Michael Kors. Girl, I was just like doing the most because I'm like, he's seen me all the time like real chill, so he already knows what I look like. But let me get like a little cute. So I look super cute. I wore some sandals just in case we were gonna take a walk afterwards because he loves walks. And he was like, wow, you smell good. I'm like, yeah, I know. So we have this wonderful time. And we were talking about how the date was going. And he was like, it's really good. And I'm like, it's really good too. You know, that's what I think. And then we drove back. We had a hug and just a little peck. Just a little peck. I was trying not to be like, ha. And so it was really good, you all. It was really nice. And I don't want to just, I don't know. I don't want to get too excited about it, but I will say he always makes me feel super smart. He makes me feel like I'm the most beautiful person in the world. which just is, I don't know. I like, that's nice. Like, and this is even before any dating sort of stuff. This is also when we were just friends. Like, so I don't know what we are right now, but we're supposed to hang out this weekend. I think. But it's weird. Like, we've hung out like casually as friends. So is this a friend hangout or is this a date hangout? It's supposed to be at my house. We're gonna watch like on my new TV that hasn't yet been installed. So I'm like, is this just us chilling like on the couch, or are we gonna like make out or something? I don't know. But that's just all to say, I'm dating my friend, I think. We went on a date. We're gonna go on another one. Tell me what you think. Let me put on some mascara and finish it all up. So this is the finished look. I really like it. I still kind of want the Dose of Colors one, but I know I don't need it, so I'm not gonna get it for now. Oh, just to let you know, last month, the month of May, I didn't make any purchases of makeup. I went on a no-buy and didn't even know it. Okay, so leave in the comments what you think about my stories, how I should feel about this new developing friendship to lovers thing, what you think about old dude, what you think about the palette and the look. Yeah. So I think that's it. I hope that some of this was helpful. I also hope that you are continuing to take care of yourself. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.